All right. So welcome everybody. Good evening, afternoon, and morning, wherever you're joining us from. So today what we want to do is talk about success stories of people who have, been successful in their grad application process. And we're hoping that would help others who, are still coming up to learn more tricks, learn more, strategies to apply towards 2024 application season. So like I said before, I will not be doing this alone. I have a couple of us here who are already here actually, who will join me. So we're going to have this like a discussion session. If you have questions, I think we can do this two ways. You can put up questions within the chat, or you can, signify. I think there's a way you can do a reaction. Yeah. So in Zoom, you can do a reaction and raise up your hand, and then we would call you up to answer or to ask your question. Yeah, I think Sergius just did that now for, I'm guessing, is that like to show us or you have question already? Okay.
I do have a question.
Okay, so I'll come back to that question. Give me a sec. So I have a couple people who are joining, us for this panel discussion. There's Nathaniel, there's Harrison, there's Maxwell, there's Austin. Um, Jude was not able to join us. I think his timing now is pretty tricky. So we have Akachuku, who I'm hoping will join us pretty soon. And who else? Frank. Yeah, Frank will also join us pretty soon. So basically, how we're going to run it is we'll give them a couple minutes to talk about, how their process has been, what is unique about their process, and then give us some final words, like tips, what to do towards this upcoming year. So that said, I'm going to, throw the floor open now. So Sergius, you can ask a question, and then this question you're going to ask will go to everybody before we start asking our mentors to talk. Is that fine?
It's okay.
Yeah, all right. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Kelechi. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate this opportunity to talk. This is my second time of trying to apply. I applied last year, and there was no success. But this time around, I'm trying to code mail. So I've been on a code mailing process. Now, I'm currently talking with a professor from Colorado State University. Although after several code mail, didn't reply to me. It was during the Thanksgiving Day. I sent him happy Thanksgiving. He now replied me that he wanted to talk with me. So he asked me some few questions, in form of a questionnaire that I'm here to submit. He gave me a deadline for yesterday to submit. I pleaded for Sunday, which is next tomorrow, to submit the questionnaire. And after that, they schedule me for a meeting. Now, what I'm asking now is, I've written a document. I'm looking for someone that will help me to proofread it, to make sure that the question I was asked, my response was apt enough to initiate further conversation with the prof. Although prof have been of help to me, I've been doing something on his DM recently. I know he's very busy. I'm asking if someone can help me today and Saturday, between today and tomorrow morning, help me to go through the document, and then so I can submit to the prof on Sunday as I promised. I'll be on the better hand to get the better response from the professor. That's my question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sergius. Yeah, so maybe we'll do you one better. So what we might do is see if any mentor here has the time between today and tomorrow to look at or proofread your work. I would have asked what kind of questions are there so we can see if we can even tackle it, maybe to help every other person here, but I don't know. Are you comfortable sharing some of the questions you have?
Yes, I can.
How many questions? So sorry, just before I know, because of our time.
There are 6 questions in all.
Okay, so how do we do this now? Can you do like two of your most, the questions you feel maybe might be pretty challenging to tackle? Just two.
Okay, the first question, I'm in the field of agric. I read crop science. I'm doing for plant breeding related. So he asked me a question relating to Mendelian fruit and how can that help plant breeders to select traits. That's the first one he asked. Second, he asked me to think through various PhD project topics and then come up with an hypothesis and then the means of testing this hypothesis. That's the two among the 6 questions he asked me.
Okay, so number one is more related to what you do, right? Number two
Yes,
is
exactly.
thinking about PhD topics. I think somebody here has experience with that. I don't want to call out, but Nathaniel is here already. Nathaniel, you want to say something about that?
So thank you, everyone. I will say something later on. I'm still moderating something, and our speaker is about to run.
Oh, okay, cool. No problem. Yeah. No problem. Thank you. So, before we continue, so there's a chat for you. There's somebody is responding to you, Kelechi. So it says he's at Colorado University, and you can reach out to him about the school. So I'm guessing you might be able to take take a look at your questions or your survey to see if you can proofread it. So please message Kelechi in the chat. Kelechi, thank you very much for volunteering. Just to answer his question, the one about PhD topic, I don't know, Prof, do you want to say something about that? I don't, or who wants to say something about PhD, topics? Juwon, are you still with us?
Let me unmute myself. Hello. I greet my bosses in the house.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Okay. Hello.
Just a pretty face moderate, so please, if I call you, don't feel offended. Yeah. Please go ahead, sir.
So sorry, I was trying to post on the group. So what is the question about? I think you said something concerning PhD funding. Can you just recap the question?
So his challenge is they've asked him to think about topics he can research about during his PhD program. So I guess what he's trying to find out is how does he, how would he generate, topics? What resources can he maybe leverage to generate topics to propose to a professor? How does he go about that? So, yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I think the very first thing you need to understand is, what area the particular supervisor is basically based on. Like, what area is the an authority in? Let me use that word. For example, let's say the supervisor is doing something in let me say Greek economics. It's not going to make sense. It's not going to make any sense if you actually propose a topic that is completely different from his area of interest. So the very first thing is to look at his area of interest, look at his strong points, because everybody has strong points, and a particular area we are much more stronger. So for example, now my supervisor is more into composite materials, like composite engineering. So it's not going to make any sense for me if I go and select something in let me say in agric. So it's going to be like, are you like you understand what I'm trying to say? So the very first thing is to determine whether maybe this particular area of interest is where the supervisor has, let me say, a foothold where he's actually very strong in. And the second thing you can actually look at is to look at your experience, your background. Do I have experience in this particular area that this supervisor is actually working in? Or better still, you can also look at your experience and see how you can blend your experience into that particular thing the supervisor is working in. I don't know let me just use myself, for example. Let's say maybe my supervisor is into composite materials, like I said, and I've not done anything on composites, but I've done something on maybe materials engineering, like generally. Maybe I've done something on metals. I've used metals to maybe during for undergrad, during my undergraduate thesis and the likes. So I can actually say that, okay, fine. Since I have experience in materials engineering, why don't I just focus on maybe something materials related? So once I propose the topic to the supervisor, he can better refine the topic for me. Okay, since you have just a general scope of the whole thing, I can much more refine your project this thing for you, your project topic for you, so you can basically just give him that particular topic, and then he's going to refine it for you. And maybe he will now tell you that you should do something that is much more specific and is much more relevant in a particular field of interest. I think those are the basic things that you should know. I don't know if it answers your question. Anyways.
Thanks. Thank you so much, Joan. Just to add a little bit before we move on, sometimes I guess, sometimes it's pretty hard for us to come up with a topic, trying to know how that would, how impressed such, potential supervisor might be about that. One thing you might want to do is, if you want to find out about somebody's research, check out his publications, especially the most recent ones, say from 2015 to 2023. See what kind of publications that has been going out from, that lab. It will give you an idea of the area this professor is researching in. So Google Scholar can help you to do that. Go to Google Scholar, check the person's profile, and then another thing you can do is look for some keywords. Say, for instance, somebody is working on irrigation and the person, is using remote sensing to, schedule remote sensing data to schedule irrigation. So one thing you might want to do is go and look for papers that use remote sensing to do irrigation. See what somebody did different. You can actually just take an idea from, a work that has been done somewhere else, and then pitch that similar idea to the professor. Make a little change. Don't copy like exactly what you saw online. Maybe, they use Landsat data. Landsat is a satellite data for some people that don't know. Yeah, Landsat is like a satellite. So you can use Landsat satellite data to do a research. And then maybe you've seen that somebody else used another satellite to do the same research. You can propose a third kind of satellites to do that same research. That might be just a proposal. Sometimes professors are not really looking to get a project idea from you. They just want to see if you are able to think about, a project. Maybe you can, idealize or, put in writing what, might be a project topic. How are you going to approach such kind of things? So your best bet is look at Google Scholar, especially areas the professor is researching on, and then see if you can, get an interesting topic, modify it, and then propose it to him. Yeah, the major thing is to try. Right? I don't know if anybody has something else, or maybe we want to move forward.
I just wanted to add. Did the professor specify how many topics you should bring? You should propose, or just say you should propose some topics?
Okay, the question started, he said that I should think through various topics for a PhD. He now brought out two subsections. I bring out an hypothesis from any of the topic, and then how would this hypothesis be tested? He didn't ask me to actually list topics. He just said I should think through topics and the A under it, I should bring out an hypothesis from any of the topic, and how can this hypothesis be tested? That's what they asked me in that question.
And do you understand what a hypothesis is from your little research? Do you understand what that means?
Yes, I do, Prof.
Okay, good. So I think you should focus on what he has asked you, and if you want to, you don't get too much of it. Like at least 2, fine, or at most 2 hypotheses. Then also how to test the hypothesis. I think focus on that question. I think if we want to stay here to answer those questions, we might make this meeting very technical compared to what we do normally in a meeting like this. So I think since Kelechi, there's a Kelechi that is asking you to reach out to him. If you can reach out to him, and if by tomorrow you think that you still need some help, maybe you also reach out to me. I'll try.
Thank you so much, bro.
Yeah, now we can move on.
All right, so I think we'll start with Maxwell, right? So Maxwell, I don't know if let me quickly just read out 3 things you tell us. So in 3 minutes, please tell us how you started your, graduate school pursuits. What was unique about your case? Like something you really found out that, was pretty peculiar to your situation. And then what would you encourage others to do in view of, the 2024 application season? And this applies to everybody who are going to call. I'm thinking, so maybe what we'll do is please answer the first question. How did you start your pursuit? And then we can, Juwon can go next, and then Austin can, okay, Harrison, sorry, not Austin, can go next. So please go ahead, Maxwell. In 1 minute now, since that's one question. Thank you. You're mute. Sorry. If you can.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, so I started early 2022, and I think when I started, I started connecting with people, and I think I was the first Ghanaian to join this page, and it really helped me a lot. So when I joined, I was like, I just took the application upon myself. Some people want to travel, they want to get opportunities abroad, but they're not willing to pay the price. And the price doesn't mean you need to pay money or anything. It's just your time. So when I started, I was just kind of searching on LinkedIn and looking on the page always, interacting, asking questions, and reaching out to Prof and Nat, and that is just how I started, and it really helps me a lot. So I would encourage those that really want to apply and make it to abroad, they should take the application upon themselves, and they should put up more effort, and they shouldn't give up. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Do you want to tell us what inspired you to start your application process? You're also mute. Okay. Thank you.
So thank you very much for the opportunity. One of my biggest motivation, is to study abroad. But it has actually been very difficult for Africans to actually move abroad, but then luckily one way or the other I met Dr. Chris, and that's where the whole thing changed. So thanks to Dr. Chris. So yeah, I started in early 2022, but basically I had some ideas about it in 2021, but not that much until I met Dr. Chris, and Dr. Chris was like, you have to draft your CV, and you have to start sending code emails. I was like, code emails. So then he explained those things to me, and I learned some, so the way to craft emails and the likes. Then I started reading some SOPs. I saw Arahu's SOP. Then MasterCard Foundation Scholar. I was just going through his page on Twitter that day. Then I saw some of his essays. I was like, this guy knows how to write very well. So I just studied all those things, and then I was like, okay, what I'll do is I'll keep improving my writing skill and the likes. Although I had some publication, but it's never enough to, writing skill is you cannot get to the end of it, or you just need to keep improving. You understand? So then I started writing supervisors. I wrote about, I think, 50 supervisors then. And I was like, these guys are always, just some of them, they don't have funding. Some of them, they don't, they are not recruiting students. Some will never respond. Like a large percent of them will never respond. So then I reached out to Dr. Nat. I cite you too. Thank you so much. So I reached out to him too, and I was just trying to explain the way the journey has been actually rough for me then. And it was like, it's not easy because he also sent about 100 meals. I think 100 meals at first. Then he sent another batch again, another 100, meals, until he was able to, get funding. And I was like, wow, that is crazy. So if someone can send 100 meals like this, and I've sent just barely 50 plus or so, then I should keep sending meals. So I kept sending meals until I later got a response from one of my reminder meals I sent. And I was very excited. Then I reached out to Dr. Chris and the whole thing. Just thank God. But Dr. Chris.
Thank you so much, Juan. So when they are calling 100 meals or 50 meals, hope we are not getting discouraged. You don't have to send 100 meals, though. I think the idea they're trying to portray is you just have to keep being committed to putting up or making inputs. Yeah, so Engineer Harrison, I think yours is a pretty bit different case. So do you want to share with us how you started your own journey?
Thank you very much, Kelechi. I don't know, can everyone hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah, I think I started 2021, 2022. Then the first scholarship I applied for was Erasmus Mundus. Then I think I applied for about 3 programs for Erasmus, and then 2 of the programs kept me on reserve list. So then that year, I think 2020, beginning of 2022, then I think that was when I heard of Chevening, and I think Dr. Chris brought one Chevening scholar here, and she had a session with us. Then I got to know about how to go about the essays. And one thing again, the most important thing I have to say that really helped me was starting on time. I really started on time. And again, since I knew that I've been in the energy industry for like over 6 years, so another thing that helped me was the course I choose. I choose renewable energy engineering. So of course, I know a lot about both. I've been both in renewable field and fossil fuel field, petroleum fuel field. So she talked about the STAR approach, how you present your essays, how your essay could stand out, how you could write an award-winning essay. So that was it. I wrote it, and the interesting part of it is that this time around, I got both Erasmus and Chevening. So I got a program in Erasmus known as Joint Masters Program in Marine Biotechnology, although the Chevening scholarship came first. So I've accepted that one already. So Erasmus came around July ending. By then, I've started finalizing my visa and every other thing. So my advice for those that are in this platform, I think this is one of the greatest platforms, the biggest scholarship platform. I'm not exaggerating because I think I am in one or two other platforms. Why this one is so interesting is that this one covers not only US, Canada, or every type of scholarship. So they have a lot of scholars, even the scholars, a particular scholarship that they don't have scholars, they go and outsource and bring to talk to us. So if you are in this place, it means that you have everything it takes to succeed. So if you are going to apply for 2024, one thing I want to advise you is to know what you want. If you want to go to Europe, you want to go to US, you want to go to UK, then because many a time a lot of applicants, they put a lot of things together, you don't even know what you want, so you don't really write good essays, you don't really write good SOPs, you don't really write present applications that stand out. So because some of them will be like, there is no time, I will send code mail, I will do this. So just know the one you want to go for. And anything you are doing, just start on time. Like I knew that English test is required. I took the IELTS seriously because there were some programs in Erasmus. I don't take chances. So don't look at money. If you want to, just like someone said here, if you want to succeed, you have to pay the price. And as I'm speaking to you now, I am here in the UK, Aberdeen, Scotland, with my wife and son. And as I'm speaking now, the scholarship, what they are paying me is even more than enough to take care of my family. So it's just take the price. Just whatever you know, you need to do to get it. So some people, many a time they say the English test, they don't have money. So, but if you know that most of the ones that involve, I discovered that most of them that involves maybe English test or one other thing, a lot of people might not want to go for it. So you see that the number of competition decreases. So if you know what you are going for involves English, the GRE, whatever. I also took the GRE before because before I wanted to go for US school. So just try and pay the price. And dedicate your time, be consistent. Anything you need, if you have questions, you are in this platform, always ask questions. Any opportunity you see, utilize it. Then any application you want to put forward, always start on time so that you write something that is outstanding. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Engineer Harrison. That's a lot. And I believe, or I hope that we are all getting, very good advice from what he said. He said a lot. One thing that is, pretty outstanding, start on time. And then he talked about preparing yourself more for, better chances of getting what you want. That's talking about taking an English test, doing the GRE. I mean, if you can, we always say if you can, take the test. It gives you better chances. If you cannot, there are also other ways to go about it, if you really put your mind to it. So going forward, I think I can see Engineer Frank. Yeah, Engineer Frank, are you there?
Hello.
Yeah, hi, Frank. So welcome on board. Yeah, basically we would, love for you to tell us how your application process started. I think from you now, you can, take the 3 minutes, tell us how the process started, what was unique about your case, and then give us a final advice. And then I'll route back to others who spoke initially. Then I'll throw the floor open for questions, if that's fine. And then Austin, you're next, please, after Engineer Frank. Thank you. Engineer Frank.
Yeah, sorry, I am still on the way going back from church. I don't know, can Austin speak before me so that by the time he's done, I should have gotten home, please? I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, sure. Thank you. Take your time. Austin.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Engineer Kelechi. Engineer, right? Right.
I'm Kelechi. All right, go ahead, sir.
Okay. I'd like to say it's been good all the way. I started the journey last year, 2022. Yeah. So I got my passport June. And that was where I made my first application, June. And my first application was up on here. So then followed started pushing others too, not just Auburn, started pushing other schools too. So I can't remember the number of code mails I sent. I know I exhausted one long note, the 80 leaves, then bought another one, where I was putting the details of the schools and everything. I exhausted my jotters. I don't know how many jotters I exhausted. So back to how it started, I served with Nathaniel in Abeokuta. We served together. We're in the National Association of Catholic Corps Members Lodge. We served together. So every day you just see him carrying laptop up and down, like a Yahoo Corps member, you understand? So you see him carry laptop here and there. You understand? So that was how I got to, because initially, I hear, yeah, scholarship, and it used to be sound abstract to me, like this thing is just a kind of mirage. So till I saw him in the family house, carrying, there's no way where when you see him carrying laptop, he's looking for network. So I think then he was pushing Chinese stuff then. So we talked and I got to understand the whole stuff. But then I had other plans anyway. So I focused on other plans. So it was later when he called me that he had moved. So the first take I would like to say is when you are ready, you are ready. Like, within you that you are ready. Nobody will tell you that you are ready. So because it's a full-time job. Like, it's a full-time job. Whether you are working somewhere or not, it's a full-time, it's just commitment. You need to just bring out your time. The code mails, they are no jokes. You need to bring out your time. So I started the code mails till I got my passport, then made my first application to open, made other applications, American University, and some I got half partial, some I got as low as 25%, I think Cincinnati. So Auburn gave me in August, but there was no funding, right? And I will never forget the God factor, because as of June, I had already made up my mind to follow Michigan. That was on Empower loan. Yeah, I got Empower loan. So I'd already made, that was my last alternative, but God had other plans. So I'd got my Empower fully approved loan for Michigan Tech. Thank God I didn't go there because of the snow. So I had gotten my visa dates, everything, paid the service fee. I was ready. As of my visa date, my interview was supposed to be July 10th. So as of June, I was ready. Why I keep saying the God factor is I was in a dream, and on the 19th, I was in a dream, and yeah, I was shown that I've gotten Auburn, that I was given the offer. I woke up and I called Nathaniel. I said, look, I want to send this woman an email. Look at what I'm saying. He said, okay, go ahead. And prior to this time, the last email communication I had with her was MASH, because she had already said I should. There was no funding, so I will have to defer for spring 2024, for fall 2024. So that was the last email. So I sent her email, I shot her email, to also consider me for that fall 2024. When I woke up, and by afternoon, she sent me a mail that they are considering GA, if they're able to do this, will I be able to still meet up? I sent the screenshot to Nat. Nat said, what? Tell her that it won't take you up to a month to even get your visa. So that's it. I sent her the mail. But then I had already gotten my interview date. So she said, okay, I will hear from her. But PS, she said, this is not an offer. I said, no problem. Then the next day,
in summary,
the next day I got the mail. So I got the offer, and that was how I started changing the whole service fee and the whole thing. Got my offer, went for interview. So in summary, what I would say is keep pushing, keep sending the mails. And if you must send the mails, I always tell people, take a book. When you write the details of your proposed supervisor. When you write the details of the graduate program director, also write the details of those assistants. You see those, what do they call them? Some departments call them graduate, what's the name? Like they act more like assistants in the departments, something like that. So they always have the contact. So those people are very, like in my journey.
You mean the graduate program director?
Graduate program director, then your proposed supervisor. There is one other contact, those ones that are usually, I can't remember their office now. So they usually assist the departments, So
okay.
Yeah, they usually assist the department. So in my journey, I've noticed that they are also important, because I remember in Cincinnati, when I reached out to her, she said she was among those that actually, what is it called? Worked on my admission, you understand? So get those information and continue to strive. And remember God. If the God factor is there, if God directs you, then you're good to go. That's
Thank you so much. Thank you, Austin. So it's very important that we all realize that for the very fact that you are here in this meeting, it means you're actually making a step or taking a step towards, beginning your application process. So like Austin, you're already dreaming about graduate school. Yeah, so yeah, we want to basically encourage all of you. So before we come back to Maxwell and Juwon to tell us what was unique about their case, I want to, for those joining us for the very first time today, I just want to let us know we do have a YouTube page or a YouTube channel where we have over 13 videos all talking about graduate school application. So I'm going to quickly share my screen so I can show you. You can take a screenshot and then go check out that YouTube page after this meeting. Sorry, what screen can everybody see? Can you see the YouTube page?
yeah.
Yes, so this is Academic Mentorship Cafe. So you can, I'll post the link on these charts right now. So you can go check out, we have about 13 videos so far. So you might be able to find one thing, whether it's relating to how to do an initial draft of your CV. There's Chevening, where we had, Harrison talk to us about Chevening. There's, code emailing, SOP writing, and then there's lots and lots of resources on that YouTube page. So please, if you've not seen these videos, maybe because you are here for the first time, please go check it out. The link, I'm just dropping that now, should be in the chat shortly. All right, thank you all very much. Back to, Juwon. So please, can you tell us what was unique about your case? What did you find out when you were doing your application? And, you'd want to encourage people to check that out or maybe give that as an advice to people generally. Yeah, mute. And
Okay, now good. Yeah, thank you very much. I think I actually learned something from the last speaker. He said something that actually worked for me. So I guess I'll basically just explain, some of the things he said. So when I started off, I selected some schools. Like I just went online, schools that offer mechanical engineering in Canada, because that's just where I started. Because I discovered that if I should start from the US is just too big. It's, so many schools in the US. So where am I going to start from? So but when I start from, Canada is actually still small, at least compared to the US. Once I exhaust supervisors in that particular area, I can always move to the US. So the first thing is to have a plan. Like you have a plan. I want to send code emails. You don't just go online and start looking for how to, what professor to send code emails. So have a plan. Then I took, I think, 2 A4 sheets, and I wrote those schools that offer my course. Then when I was done, I actually checked those schools, and then I wanted to do something related to materials engineering, like anything materials. I don't want to since what I'm going to be doing, I don't really know yet from my research, but I just gave myself this this general overview of the whole materials part of mechanical engineering. So then I now selected those schools, I wrote them down. I started looking for professors in that particular area. And to be honest, it's not easy, but there's a particular saying that life will not always give you what you want, but if you are very persistent, it will give you what you deserve. I think something like that. So once you are very persistent with with what you are doing, at the end of the day, you will just discover that things just will just fall in place. So at first, when I sent the emails, it was, I was just not getting any response. At some point, I was like sending emails. These guys will not respond. So at some point, I didn't even know what to do. But then I also remember that something actually helped me. I teamed up with one of my friends. Like, we are actually three friends. There's one guy now is in the US. Another one is in Australia, Sydney, University of Sydney in Australia. The second one is in what is the name of this school, Seth? This Virginia University. I think there's one Virginia Tech. I think there's one particular scholar that is in that school too. So the third friend is in that school. So we kind of team up, and then like get to encourage one another. Alpha, have you gotten any response yet? Oh, I think I got the response, but the professor is, when you relate to people, you kind of get motivated that I will send emails again, even though you get discouraged, like they are not responding, but then there's this motivation that this guy got response, I will send emails again. So I think teamwork is actually very important. So when it comes to sending code emails, because I won't lie, it gets frustrating when you're not actually getting any response at all, or when you get response that I'm not really encouraging. But teamwork is important. And another thing that is actually very unique is how will I say it, is the ability to, I don't know, Sha, but I think a lot of scholars on the group have actually assisted me. Like, but majorly is like Dr. Chris and and Dr. Nat. So they've actually been very how will I say, very pivotal to the journey. And then I always reach out to them to give them updates about the way things were actually going on with me then, especially Dr. Chris. So, and I think it's actually very important to let your mentor to let them aware, to let them know that this is how this is how the whole thing is going with you, and this is how far you've gone, so that they can know how to assist you and how best to advise you.
You know, go
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Juan. So this is what we're going to do now, right? If I were you, for everyone listening, this is time to prepare your questions while we hear from Maxwell and Frank briefly. So after both of them, give us that short tip, we'll go into questions. Don't be shy to ask your questions. Tell us where you are now and what you need help with, right? That's basically how your question should go before we invite Prof to, give us like final words. So Maxwell, are you ready? Please, in 1 minute. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think what was unique about my case is like I was very determined. And as I always say, nothing good comes easy. So like when I kind of started, it didn't really move very smoothly. I used to send like a lot of emails, and sometimes I don't even get a response. But even if I get a response and it's not like a good response, I'm always happy, and it motivates me a lot. So I used to kind of like keep in touch with Prof and Nat, and any feedback I get, I send it to them to ask what is the way forward and everything. So that was just it. So you just need to be determined. And also, after getting my funding and everything, my visa was it wasn't easy. I had to move to a different country to apply for my visa, and there was a whole lot. But I was just so determined. After going for the interview and everything, like it's a francophone country, so I couldn't speak French, but I was still determined to still go there and like apply for my visa and go for my interview and everything. So I even traveled by bus and everything just to go to that place to apply for the visa. So like nothing good comes easy. So you have to just be so determined. Like even if you give up, God works with you, you get it. So like if you start something, just be determined to kind of like push through and finish it. And after the interview, my visa was on administrative processing for like about 78 days.
Wow.
Yeah, so like sometimes I used to just walk around and I'm just talking alone. I'm like, give me my visa, let me leave the country. Yeah. So that was just it. But then I was still hopeful and praying to God. And after I was done with my national service, the next day my visa was in and I had to leave. So in everything you do, just be determined and know why you started. That is it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maxwell. That's really inspiring. I would have asked what kept your visa, but this is not a visa, application meeting. But yeah, you can always ask your questions. And for people who might not know, we have a different group for people who have gotten admitted and are processing their visas, just in case you are at that stage and you need, you need help preparing for the visa interview process or putting up your visa application. Yeah, you can leave a message in the group, on the WhatsApp group, and then we'll put you on the visa application group. So Engineer Frank, are you ready for us? So after Engineer Frank, we'll have questions. So please, if you have questions now, you can use the reaction button to put your hands up, and then we'll call you to ask your questions.
Yeah.
Please go ahead, Engineer Frank.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry for not speaking at that time you first called me. I was actually in the vehicle coming back home.
You understand? Thank you.
Yeah. So my visa, my study abroad journey began when I was in secondary school. When I was in the university as an undergraduate in Nigeria. And in my 400 level, I first got to know in my final year, 500 level or so, because I studied engineering course. So in my 500 level, I got to know about scholarships and all that. So I applied for one scholarship, I think Japanese MEX scholarship, and it wasn't successful because I applied through the embassy, the Japanese embassy. And I don't know why I didn't get any feedback from them after the submission. Then I applied again for, I think after I graduated, I applied for one in Korea, South Korea. I also did not get any feedback. I tried to try another Japanese university, but this time the school is in Egypt, Japan University of Science and Technology. I said, since it's also a Japanese school, although it's not in Japan, but I can still get some Japanese experience while I'm in Egypt. So I applied for that one.
Engineer Frank, sorry to cut you short. Can I ask you why you were interested in Japanese and Korean universities? I think that's like a unique thing we want to know.
Yes, the reason was because I studied mechanical engineering and I had interest in robotics.
Oh, okay.
Things that involved mechanical and robots and AI and all that. So that was my interest. And so when I applied for the Japanese scholarship and the Korean scholarship, I didn't get any feedback from their embassies. So I decided to try the Japanese university in Egypt called EJUST. And the first time I applied to the school, I think I had just I just graduated from my undergraduate, and they were asking me to send them the certificate. And you know how Nigerian schools are. If you graduate, it takes ages before the certificate is ready. So I couldn't provide the certificate. I sent them a statement of result. They said no, that they want the certificate according to their law. Without the certificate that shows that you have been awarded the degree, they won't believe that you have graduated. So unfortunately, I couldn't get it, and my application was not successful. But that was the first time I was getting feedback from my applications. The previous ones I applied to, they didn't even contact me to tell me what happened. So the following year, I began my service, my NYC in 2018, and the next year, 2019, luckily my school decided to do a convocation. And after the convocation, they told us, oh, you can start applying for a certificate. So I used that opportunity to reapply to this same Japanese school in Egypt, EJUST. And that was how I got offered. And in fact, I was the only because they only had one slot for each program. It was a master's degree scholarship and only one slot per department. And luckily I was picked for the mechatronics and robotics engineering program. And I went there and faced some tough times, culture, adoption and all that. But luckily I was able to graduate successfully from my master's degree. And one unique thing that helped me during my master's, one thing I did was that I realized that this is a Japanese school and the educational system is more like the Japanese type, in which they emphasize on research. So they had good facilities, good labs. So I made good use of them and did a very nice research. And I was able to publish very good papers in top journals in my field. And even Dr. Chris is aware of all those publications. So when Dr. Chris, there was a time I was having some issues with my master's program based on, I didn't know when you go to a new country, sometimes there's a way you can do things that will be seen as offensive by the foreigners there. And that got me into problem. And I was like, oh, I'm not sure I can continue in this program again. So I had to contact Dr. Chris, and he was like, he encouraged me also. He encouraged me, and luckily I was able to. I later gave him feedback that, oh, I've now published a paper and I'm almost rounding up my master's. So that's good. Why not join the Academic Mentorship Cafe so that you can, in case you have interest in going elsewhere after your master's. And that was how I joined I told him, okay, he added me to the WhatsApp group and I started seeing lots of information from you guys, from Kelechi and Juwan and all of you, even Nathaniel. So all those while that you people moved to the US and different countries, I was in the group just observing everything that was happening. So, and the code email, I realized that they were emphasizing on sending code emails and all that. And I said, okay, let me just apply. So last year, I think around June, after I had published a few papers from my master's research, I decided to try the McGill University in Canada and see if they could take me for PhD. I applied to them and for spring this year, spring 2023 intake. And I was contacted by a professor, I won't call his name, and he was like, oh, I like your research profile and it fits well with what I'm doing. Can we have a Zoom chat? And I obliged. We had Zoom chat. I presented my research to him on PowerPoint slide because he was like, okay, tell me about what you are doing. And I said, okay, I've already prepared a PowerPoint presentation. Can I present it? He said, yes, go on. And so I presented and it was very interactive. He asked me questions and I answered them and he liked it. And he said, oh, I did something like this some years back. And after everything, he said, oh, I am offering to accept you into my lab. And in fact, I'm going to give you a fellowship and all that. I was like, oh, that's good. I was so happy. And he said, but I don't have the final say. The department still has to make you a formal offer of admission. I said, okay. He said, so just hold on, let us review and make our formal admission offer. So alongside the line, the department didn't offer me admission for some reasons best known to them. And
So
when
just to recap, sorry to cut you there. You did the application before the professor contacted you.
yes, I didn't even send any cold email to him.
Okay.
I just applied to the school.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
But unfortunately, the department felt that my CGPA was not high enough. Then my GPA from my master's, that was what they were complaining about, not my undergraduate. But it was, I think, 3.1 something. That was it out of, on a scale of 4, 3.1 something. But they said the minimum requirement was 3.3. And I told him that this is not my final result. You have not seen the final yet. So this is what I have with me right now. But there are some courses I'm taking, which I believe will boost my CGPA when I'm done with the master's finally. But he said, okay, I will try to contact them. And funny enough, in Egypt, their grading system is different. So if you score like 80, 85 or 80, 89 out of 100 in Egypt, 89% in a course, they will give you a B plus. Whereas in some other countries, that could give you an A. And even in McGill University, that could give you an A. And I was like, my grades are very good. The thing is that I did not convert it using the WES evaluation and WES evaluation. So it was as if it was not high enough. But there in Egypt, that was a very good grade. So because of that issue, the department refused to admit me, despite the fact that he had already offered me a fellowship. So it just said, well, there's nothing I can do at this point, Frank. I wish you all the best in your future applications. I said, okay, thank you. So after that disappointment.
In summary, Engineer Frank, thank you.
Yeah,
just summarize, tell us where you are now.
Okay, after that disappointment, I decided to try the cold email thing, and I emailed the professor that his research fits what I'm doing, what I was interested in. I emailed the professor at Virginia Tech, and he replied me, and he had Zoom meetings with me and all that, and offered to nominate me for a fellowship at Virginia Tech. And he nominated me for the ICTAS Doctoral Scholars Fellowship. And I was successful, and I was admitted by Virginia Tech. I initially applied to 2 departments, mechanical engineering and biological systems engineering. Both of them admitted me, but the professor is in biological systems. So I had to go with his department because that is where the fellowship is tied to. I'm currently in the US doing my PhD at Virginia Tech and the College of Engineering. So
congratulations, Engineer Frank. That was really interesting story. In fact, it got me thinking now. I'm thinking maybe we should do a 5-minute video success story series. You tell us how your experience was, and we'll have it on our YouTube page. I believe it will help a lot of people. You know, if you hear about someone's experience that is a bit related to your current experience, I believe it will help, motivate people too. So yeah, Engineer Frank, we'll keep that your story for that success story series. I mean, with Prof's, approval, we can do something like that, have like a couple of us do a success story series. All right, thank you very much. We are about 6 minutes, 7 minutes above 1 hour target. So for the next 15 minutes, it's going to be question and answer for the next 15 minutes. If you have questions, this is your time, right? We'll start with Daniel. And anybody can answer. If you have a question, if you have an answer to Daniel's question, please give us an answer as it pleases you. Thank you very much. Daniel, please go ahead.
Okay. Hello, good day, everyone. I don't know whether it's morning or afternoon, wherever you're listening from. Well, can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can.
Oh, great. So I'm so delighted to be on this platform. As a matter of fact, there's a WhatsApp group that I belong to, which is for Canada and US applicants for admission. So I just saw the link. It was even past 7 when I saw the link. So I decided to give it a trial. And during this meeting, I can see the dynamics of studying abroad and even migrating. But basically, at the time, because I've been on this for a while, at the time I was even contemplating contracting it to, I don't know if anyone has come across, is it YM Grad, one guy called Yash or something. He gave me a bill of 1.3 or 1.4 million naira to be able to process scholarship. And I said, that's on the high side. But eventually I've resolved that it's something that I should be able to do on my own. I actually want to do my PhD. I have my master's, I'm in Nigeria anyway. I have my master's in my first degree and second degree in mass communication. Meanwhile, I observe that the WhatsApp group that I belong to, the opportunities they share there are often in line with those in science, engineering, and the rest of that, as if those in arts and social sciences or humanities are not really entitled to such privileges. So I'm happy to be in this meeting where I'm seeing success or hearing success stories, which are quite inspiring. But where do I start from? I don't have, do you do any mentorship aside this one that would, take for instance, now if I want to apply for my PhD now, is there a model in place wherein if I do anything, there's someone that can guide me on, okay, do this or add this or remove that? So is there something of such in place that makes it easier? So I don't just make, and in the end, it's just like activity without any progress, as it were. So it's really.
I think we lost Daniel there. But I think I would start by rephrasing his last
Mentorship.
question. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Okay.
So you're asking if we have, strategies set in place to help you when you have an issue, basically.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for your question, Daniel. So I would say our group as of now have levels of engagement, right? If you've gone beyond the level of cold emailing, say peculiar to your case, there's a group that, we have mentors that can help you when it comes to visa application. And then there's also group generally for people who have been successful in getting, their graduates offers. So a lot of people are able to volunteer to help you, at any stage you want. But the way the program runs, it's mostly a DIY something, like a do it yourself, kind of strategy. So if we give you information on how it works, you go and try it. If it doesn't work for you, you can come back and ask questions. Academic mentorship group, what I love about it is it runs itself. If you ask a question on the group, there will always be somebody who can answer or who can respond to your question. If you need personal levels of engagement, say you have interview coming up with a professor and you need to be prepared for that interview, there are lots of people who have been given, or who have had the opportunity to do a mock interview with, a couple of mentors and prof himself too. So depending on what your problem is or what your issue is. So if you've gone through the first stage, you've looked for a school, maybe you did an application and then they are offering to give you funding, but they want to interview you. We have you can make a post on the group and you'll be directed to the right persons. I guess that's the way to put it. Ask your question on the group and you'll be directed to the right persons, right? I don't know if Nat.
Sorry, I'm sorry, please. I'm sorry for interrupting you. I'm not, I'm still at the cold mail level. I'm still cold emailing, whatever you could.
Yeah.
I'm not, it's something that I feel I've not even gotten right.
Okay.
So I'm still at that level. I've not gotten to level of visa application. It's still cold emailing, still trying to send messages to the prof and the rest of that. And if possible, to get to be a graduate assistant or teaching assistant, as the case may be. So I'm still at that level. I've not gotten any response from any professor.
Okay, so there's something happening on the group these days that I really like. Somebody sends a cold email and the person maybe gets a rejection or gets, what do they call it, love letter. The professor says, I don't have funding. The person posts it on the group and say, we go again, right? So I love that concept in the group. It keeps, it's like an accountability stuff, right? You can come up on the group and say you've sent 10. There was a time we had, was it a challenge where it was like 10 cold emails a day or something like that. You can start something like that, 10 cold emails a day, and then maybe 1-2 persons can join you. At your stage now, I guess what I would be asking you is, have you had your maybe a sample draft of your email reviewed by somebody in the group? What other question? If you're not getting response, it's very normal. One other thing, people can tell you is you can send a reminder, maybe after 1 week, 2 weeks or so, go back to the people you've emailed, send them a reminder. I mean, there are lots of, ideas, lots of tricks and tips. And our YouTube, in one of our training sessions, we have on the, posted on the YouTube page. We called it tips and tricks. Reminder is one of the tricks. It's there. I mean, you can look up some of those videos too. But fastest way to get your question answered, ask it on the group. Somebody will respond to it. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah.
It does. Thank you.
Okay. And then please, you can engage people, personally too. You can message somebody on the group, be like, can you, this is where I am, this is the issue I'm having. They will direct you to the right persons.
But what's the name of this group? I'm sorry for interrupting. What's the name of this group you are referring to?
The WhatsApp group, Academic Mentorship Cafe.
Okay, I'm not on that group.
I just posted the link in the chat and I'm reposting it now.
Okay.
I just posted it now. Please join the group. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. Sorry I joined in late. Is this a recorded session? Like, can we have a replay?
It is recorded. Yeah, it's recorded. We'll have it posted on the YouTube page, which I'm also reposting on the chat. So there's the WhatsApp group and there's the YouTube page being reposted on the chat right now. If you're not on the WhatsApp group, please join. We'll also paste the link to the YouTube channel on that WhatsApp group. All right. Thank you. So one more question before I bring on Prof. Chigozie, please go ahead with your question.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Chigozie.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So actually, I'm currently in Nigeria, graduated from Department of Mathematics, Futo, and I am trying to apply for PhD abroad. So I started my application November, that's last month, one of my application in Oxford University. So, but then I was kind of my hands were folded because they were requesting an apps fee, and I was
Okay,
kind
what?
of
Sorry,
at the
what fee?
application fee. So they
Okay.
said they waive the what's it called? They waive the English test. I can use my my what English proficiency. So they said if I apply, that there is automatic funding. So there's a deadline for what's it called, funding, automatic funding, that I don't need to contact or write any code mail. That's Oxford University. So then since then I've been thinking, I've been kind of worried. And also somebody was like, why can't you check out other schools? Why can't you look at some other schools? Then I was thinking, like, somebody also said here that many of us kind of fizzle out because when we hear about do this, write this, pay this, then we kind of go for other less kind of schools. So I've been thinking, what should I do? How do I go about it and the rest? I think that's
So
my
you're
question.
asking how you go about application fee, or I'm not sure I got
Yes,
that question.
yes.
Okay, does somebody want to answer that question, please?
Okay.
Yeah, I want to say something.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Austin, thank you.
Okay.
All right. I don't like it. Like, it's even good you try to understand what he was trying to this statement he was trying to make. So he want to understand how to go about application fee, because I mean, if they said if you're guaranteed, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can't hear you. Oh man. Okay, I think I can hear you.
Okay, so if you're trying to understand how you're going to go about application fee, I don't know if you're talking of sourcing the fund or how to make the payment. I don't know, but if it's the payment, I'm sure there are people that can help you make the payments over there or over here. Understand? Then for if you're sure that if you're guaranteed that you will get funding, when they said there is guaranteed funding, mind you, it could be 25%, it could be 50%, it could be full funding. There is no, you don't know anything until you have your I-20 stating your mode of funding if you have full funding. So our advice while you are working on that, like you said, somebody told you focus on other areas. There are so many schools too that waive application fees. If you can write to them, if it's possible for them to waive, you can email the graduate program director to waive it, and then focus on other stuff. So I don't know, are you trying to move from BSc to PhD direct, or is it you have your master's that you're pushing PhD? Because it seems like it's something you want to do. You say you want to move from BSc to you want to move to PhD. So is it like a direct admission or what? So the best way is write them for application fee waiver. If they don't waive it, then look for a way to pay it, and then focus on other ones that don't have application. There are so many schools that don't have application fees or that give waiver. So focus on them.
Thank you so much, Austin. Engineer Harrison.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I wanted to say something. I think for universities in the UK, particularly Oxford, if you want to come to Oxford and they ask you to pay application fee, please, before you waste your money, make sure you're a first class graduate. If you are not a first class graduate, it's usually difficult to get for them to give you that funding, because there'll be a serious interview panel session, because I had some first class graduate that couldn't even get admission into Oxford. So make sure you have a 1-1 first class before you waste your application fee on Oxford University. That's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Harrison. So basically for people going through cold emailing and all that, I think what we usually encourage is try to get a professor ask you to apply before you even go ahead with an application. So I think one of the stories, I think Engineer Frank mentioned he applied to McGill, and then, you know, he was not given admission then. I'm trying to, wrap my head around how the story went. But basically, professor contacted him and then he was going to be considered for admission. So when you do an application, I think one of the most important questions is, where is your funding coming from, right? So you want to sort out your funding before you even put up an application. But if your case is different, where it's not a research assistant path, then it has to be very competitive before they consider you for funding. In that case, you can submit an application, put up a very strong application like Engineer Frank did. Somebody will contact you, right? If it's a professor who has a position. But if it's a teaching assistantship position, which is mostly for non-STEM, grad applicants, right? The department can consider you if they feel your application is very strong, and then they will make you an offer to come do an interview to, get teaching assistantship or all the sorts. Other cases, you can be considered for fellowship if they feel your application is also very strong. So before you put up an application, figure out your funding. That's what we're trying to say, right? And lastly, Nathaniel, before Nathaniel says what he wants to say, Chigozie and Daniel, do you still have questions? Because I see your hands are still up.
No, I don't have questions.
Okay.
And I got
okay. Good to know. Daniel, do you still have a question? Your hands are up. Okay, I would assume that's a no. Nat, were you going to say something before I call on Emmanuel? And I believe that's our last question before Prof comes up.
Yeah, very briefly. Thank you so much, Casey. Thank you everyone for joining. I'm actually happy the way the group has evolved to, the level has evolved to. I could remember, Casey, this group started in our final year at Futo. We started it with just 7 persons, including Prof. So he was the one that actually advised me to create a group, and Casey and rest of all. It was even more of something like, let's just try and see if we could actually have best 10 of our class to move out for their graduate studies. And then he escalated to something even from just Futo to other schools to even the level of international, getting some other persons. I know we've recorded couple of persons from Ghana, Indonesia as well, and it's been amazing. Even some Indians that joined. So and when we look at those things, we're always happy to see that what we started as little efforts actually gain such traction, and is really nice. Yeah, why I'm saying this is we know that things are actually getting tougher. That's just one of the things I want to point out. Things are getting tougher, especially now that we don't have official rate of anything. But there are schools waiving all these requirements like TOEFL, GRE, application fees. Now there is no official rate. So dollar to Naira exchange is very, very high. If it is possible, look at school requirements. There are more than 400 universities in the US. You can't exhaust up to even quarter, and then you get your offer. Like others have mentioned earlier, it's very tough. It's not something easy. Some person's story is just like, I just emailed that professor and he accepted me. We didn't even have any interview, nothing. So, but there are some professors that would want to drill everything out of you. My own professor even went on to have an interview with one of my recommenders during my time. So it depends, people's story have different dimensions. So some people were accepted before they were told that GRE is a compulsory requirement. They had to prepare for that and write. So it has different distance. But based on the financial issues we have in Nigeria, I would advise that you start with those schools that can even give you freer offers. Because it will be very hard for you to get support from someone when you're still making application. Please, can you help me pay application fee? Please, can you help me pay for my GRE? Where's evaluation? People tend to support more when you're already telling them that I've got to the level of visa. Please, I'm planning on, like, I'm just trying to see if I can couple some money for my flights. People can assist you freely in those areas when you get to that stage. But the stage of application and maybe waiting for decisions is very volatile, that people even see it as, I may just support you no matter how much, and then the next thing you see is rejection. It happens. Somebody from this group has received, in fact, had interviews with up to 6 professors, and all of them denied him admission. Some gave without funding. People that were like, I encourage you, I strongly encourage you to apply. So it may happen to anybody. So try as much as possible to avoid some of those things, and then do the little you can for yourself. If you know you are just new, you've not got your passport, it's a basic thing. And it is nice you start saving up some money to do all those things bit by bit while you are still reaching out to professors. Reaching out to professors level, you don't necessarily need a passport, but you can start saving up some money for that. Maybe in 3 months or thereabouts, you'll be able to save up to that, and then get one document at a time. Get one document, even if it is English language proficiency attestation from your school. Make sure that at a time you're getting something different, so that when the application time comes, the pressure will not be much on you, because you have a lot of things from the visa. In fact, from the admission day, from the day you receive your admission and I-20, you have pressure of a lot of things. Visa application, service fee, traveling to Lagos or Abuja for your visa, you still have flights. So there are a lot of things. Try as much as possible to cut some of them bit by bit, and avoid some of those schools that have very high requirements. You understand? Since you're still in Nigeria, except you have someone. Thank you so much, Casey. And for others, one most important thing, like I mentioned earlier, you can see we started it as our class group. Now it has come to this level. If you're one of the beneficiaries, please, when we have something like this, try to attend. Thank you so much for all of us that are here. Try as much as possible to come. It has not been easy. But Casey and I know everything, even Prof too. When we started it and then we are growing, it was hard for us to even leave the group. Because no matter how busy you are, you still need to attend to some persons. Some will come in private, some will be on that group, but you have to attend to them. If you are here, try as much as possible to at least bring one person out of Nigeria. Even if you cannot support everyone in the group, just please try as much as possible to answer questions, contribute to some discussions and all that. When there is something like this, try to attend. It will actually help us. We don't just have one or two of us that are doing it. No, nobody is free. Everybody is busy. And we all acknowledge that, we understand everything, but try as much as possible to also invest in others. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nat. Before I call on Prof, we're at 1:30 now. I want to acknowledge Maxwell, Juwon, and Kelechi for helping us answer some questions on the chat. Yeah, on the chat, and then on WhatsApp too. Thank you very much. Like I said, I was never alone, and that's proof. Thank you all, guys. So I want to ask Prof to come up now, and then Emmanuel, I'm seeing your hand. Prof would decide if we're taking your question now. Thank you so much, Professor. Okay, I don't know if Dr. Chris is still online.
No, Casey.
We can hear you. Okay, yeah, we can hear you now, sir. Thank you so much.
Hi everyone. I'm so happy that we are here today. This is December 2nd. So yeah, it's almost rounding up. Thank you everyone for joining. Just like what Nathaniel has said, like if you look back to when this group started, I didn't know that it's gonna get to this point. I was speaking with somebody the other day. I said sometimes the group is now running like it is autopiloted, whereby even if you are not there, you can still see some reasonable comment on issues. So I think we are happy about that. I just wanted to mention that some people on this group, I actually have a very personal relationship with them. Like someone like Nat, Kelechi, they were my students. So that is a personal relationship. Somebody like Frank and I, we actually schooled, I think we schooled in the same primary school, even if it's not the same. So you don't know that
Secondary school and
we
primary school.
the same secondary school, even primary school, I think so. So it's that type of relationship, right? So we are in a group, but we still have that relationship. I've not met some people, I've met some people. So, but I'm really happy at the way we are all making sure that we are contributing to the progress of the society that we belong to. And we are doing that free of charge. A lot of people are making money out of this thing, but we chose to do it free of charge. I want to thank everybody for that. Frank said something when he was speaking, talked about mentorship. And also, Juwon mentioned that. I want to let us know that mentorship is progressive. And what I would like you to know is that you are not alone. Even when you get your funding, you still need a mentor, right? When you get your funding, you will know that you still need a mentor, because there are some times even in your program when things will be like, you don't know what the next step to take. You need to maybe ask questions or in your next move. So don't throw away mentorship. Keep your mentors and make sure that you are always in communication. And if you've benefited from other people, also try, as Nathaniel said, try to also contribute to make sure that you are helping others. That is the only thing that you have to pay. So the purpose of this meeting today, I was just thinking that it's a good time for everybody to just come together and let's hear the stories of some of our scholars, how they started and how they have progressed, so that at least to encourage one or two persons, so that they will not, they will know that whatever they are going through in their application process is not a mere coincidence. It happens to even the successful people. So having some example or some levels of failure as you go to your point of success is part of the game. But one thing that you will not do is to remain at a point of failure. Some people here, they say that, oh, I applied to this scholarship, I didn't get it. That scholarship, I didn't get it. But I applied to this one, I got it. That is the story. If you apply to the first one, you didn't get it and you give up, then you're not going to get it. So anytime you give up, you are giving another person the chance that should have been for you, right? So thank you, everyone. Stay on the track and welcome to the month of December. Kelechi, that is what I have to say, and thank you for organizing this. If you want to take anybody's question, I think, like I said, you are the one that is hosting. It's all at your discretion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, bro. We really appreciate. Yeah, thank you, sir. So, Emmanuel, do you want to ask your question in 30 seconds before we wrap up?
Yes, I'll do that. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right, I think I'm audible.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I've been in conversation with two scholars from the group, that's Juwon and Kelechi, the one that schools in CU. Actually, I've sent some. I'm in Nigeria currently, and I'm currently serving. So I've sent a lot of emails, and I've got impressive responses, but most of the times what I get is your portfolio looks very good and impressive, but there is actually no opening at the moment. But
there is what? Sorry, say that again.
Actually, no opening. They're not taking any students.
Okay.
So I've got responses like go ahead and apply. But something happened recently, I think about 2 weeks ago. It happened that a professor reached out and asked me if I would be happy to get on a Zoom call with him. So we had back and forth, like giving days I would be available. Eventually, we were able to come up with a particular day, and I discussed that with Scholar Juwon. He told me I should just reserve my question and get to this and wait till this session, then I can ask my question where I will get good feedback from people who are more experienced. So my question is, what is a master's? I have PhD. I'm applying for PhD. I'm also applying for a master's position as well. But this particular one, I really want to get locked in is a master's offer, and the professor already scheduled the meeting, and it's just going to happen in a couple of days' time. So I really want to know what exactly I should do and what level of preparation is required of me, and what should I be expecting, and how should I respond to questions. And that was just all. Thank you so much.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Emmanuel. So, like I said before, so far so good. You've done really well. And like I said before, this stage is pretty nice. There are people who can help you do mock interview, talk about what professors, typically tend to ask you in interviews on how you should respond and things like that. So how about I do this? Send me a message on WhatsApp so I can maybe forward you your number to a couple people who can help you set up a mock interview. Okay. So
very good.
Yeah, I will
Thank
do
you.
that for you based on what day your interview is coming up. Does that work?
Yes, it works very perfectly. Thank you so
All right.
much.
Thank you very much. So I want to end this meeting here because we've spent quite a number of minutes, above an hour actually. So for all those who have their hands raised up, please ask your questions on the WhatsApp group. The link is in the chat. Really hoping somebody would be able to respond to you as quickly as possible. I'm just reposting the link right now on the chat. So thank you everybody for joining. First of all, I want to appreciate Dr. Chris. He has been here long time now, really been a great source of, inspiration, motivation, and help, and a blessing to us all. So, Prof, really appreciate you, sir. And thanks to all the mentors who, out of their busy schedule, came up today to help others too. So, like they say, we rise by lifting others, right? So we really appreciate you for your time, and for everyone who turned up for the meeting. Keep pushing your story. We will hear it on this same platform very soon, right? Thank you all very much and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you.